Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about what we would have bred if we were breeding, and not only what we'd breed, but maybe what would be a good pairing for certain females, because we're going to be part with them, and some things I'd love to see go to it. So as we talk about what we breed, some of the proper answers that we can't use would be your mom. I got told I can't say that. Apparently I can't say I'd breed your mom on this channel. I don't know why. So we won't say anything like that. We're not going to make any jokes about breeding, you know, anything but snakes. So we won't say things like I'd breed your mom or your sister or your girlfriend or your wife. We won't say any of those things today. We're going to be really well behaved. So let's just kind of start where we left off, and we're going to kind of go about order. So the first one to talk about is we're going to talk about a super lesser. Right, I'm not going to pull that one out, but solid white snake, you're going to get lesser in everything. So for my money, if I was breeding that, I would probably want to put something else with at least lesser Mystic or Mojave to it, because I'm going to want to get those bells, right? I love bells. I think bells, they're always going to sell well, you know. So from a business standpoint, if I know I can get $300 a baby or $350 a baby, and I can make 6 babies out of that pair on average, and half of them are going to be bells. Right there, you're at, you know, almost $1,000 for that clutch plus the other 3 babies. Not so bad, right? So that's great. There's going to be no low end. If you do bell to bell, you can obviously push that to 1,800 out of 6 babies because you'd have nothing but bells. So honestly, the Mystic Potion would be one that I like to run to that. Why a Mystic Potion? Well, it's really simple, because I'm going to get lesser to every baby on one side, right? So that lesser, every baby gets lesser. The Mystic Potion, being an allelic combo also in the bell complex, is going to push Mystic or Mojave. So I would make nothing but bells. They would all be lesser Mystics or lesser Mojaves. The bad part is, no, it's Mystic or Mojave in there. So you just got to tell your customers that. But we could also do Super Mystic. You could do all kinds of stuff. To me, that's the best thing to do with a bell. Because here's the thing, here's the bad part of bells. They're kind of like pieds, right? And what I mean by that is, there ain't a lot you can do to go further. Oh my God, it's the funniest thing right now. My cameraman is trying his damnedest not to sneeze on camera. And as I'm looking, I'm trying not to laugh at these weird ass scrunching faces he's making. I'm trying to hold that back. This is the shit y'all don't see I can talk about now. It cracks me up. What I mean by it's kind of like pieds is, what do you do past all white? You know? I'm still laughing. He's trying to work that sneeze off. So if I take a bell and I add another gene to it, doesn't really do much. It's still a solid white snake with blue eyes, right? So you're not going to improve on that. So when you make those, that's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing you can use those for, if there's a project you just really want to ensure you're getting lesser into, hey, it's going to happen. And lesser is a pretty great one to see. So that is always an awesome way to go. I really like the super lesser for that. Well, come here, we'll talk about this. I'll show you guys this one. This one is a GHI. Now, for those who aren't familiar, stands for Gotta Have It. It's an older gene now. It used to be an older gene. For those that like the dark, you know, these are great, right? Because look at how it's kind of this dark metallic look. I really dig these. You really can't go wrong here. This is another one that a Mystic Potion is great to put to. I love the way a Mojave GHI looks all day long. You could also put a bell to this. Kurt really likes the way lesser GHIs look. Basically, GHI is awesome. You wouldn't think it goes so well in that bell complex because of how dark it is, but in truth, it interacts super good with that. So some of the most striking 2-gene combos that you can get on the planet are going to, in my opinion, are honestly GHI Mojave. Now, if you got a Mojave, it's got some other things going on it, like maybe a Mojave Pastel, some things like that, and you put that with this girl here, you know, you're going to be doing really, really good. So you can do some awesome stuff with these. These things are just cool as cucumber. All right, girlfriend, you can go back in there now. I know. Come on. So those things work really, really good. You can also, of course, go super GHI. If you want to take that darker, mix it in some mahogany, would be really great there. So the Sumida GHI, mahogany GHIs are mwah. And then, of course, you can get to a Suma GHI, which is going to get you that true all black look without any kinking, right? And you guys know me, I'm not a fan of super cinnamon or super black pastel or black pastel cinnamon because of the extra issues with kinking. I just don't like it. I won't get on that soapbox again. You all fucking heard me on there before. But you can get to all black through that GHI without dealing with extra kinking. So those things are awesome. Another one we'll go ahead and pull out for you. This one here, depending on what kind of mood she's in. Come on, girlfriend. She could be a little bit of a fire plug. So this is a champagne inchy. And when you get inchy and champagne, what you really end up with is a champagne color with a lot of heavier patterning. So champagne typically eats all that pattern away. The inchy brings that pattern in, causes a really good looking snake. Now, one thing I want you to take notice of, we just posted our spider video, right? And if you look here, her head's upside down. She is acting like a spider because, and that is just coconut, so y'all know. They do have that same kind of spider tick. It's not usually talked about in champagne as much as it is spider, but this is part of that same complex. Oh, you're going to be, okay, Turbo, you don't act like that. We'll put you up. I know, you have your days, and today is apparently one of them. Cranky Pants. That is Captain Cranky Pants right there. So you have to be careful with your champagne. You cannot put anything with champagne into it, spider into it, any of that stuff that's in that complex you want to avoid. You could do blackhead to champagne. I would think that would probably be okay, given that blackhead to spider works a-okay, but probably won't be too exciting. Champagne's an acquired taste. This is one of those genes that Kurt's always hated. If I asked Kurt what would we put to champagne, he would say nothing other than maybe inchy. For me, I actually really like champagne. I think pastel with champagne, you get this really cool digitized look. It's really awesome. So anything with pastel can go really, really well there. I would definitely not hesitate to do that. I think anything too that's going to add more pattern. We've done blitz to champagne before, and that's kind of cool, but it wasn't as striking as inchy champagne. But an inchy blitz champagne would probably be very, very nice because you're going to have two things adding pattern. And if you want to make the champagne kind of wonky, try to do those pattern adders. I think inchy needs to be in that champagne almost all the time. You're not going to get much worse than that. Things that keep out, pied champagnes, no thank you, not my jam. Do not do champagne to champagne either. Super champagnes, bad idea, dead babies. So just avoid that. But there's a lot of cool stuff. You have to just kind of like that color and pattern. Champagne is another gene that can kind of dead end you a little bit. What I mean by that is you can gene stack the piss out of it, but you're not going to get a different look. You know, when you get like pastel, never dead end you, right? You can stack as many things into that and get a different change as you want. If you want to make a 4 or 5 gene animal, with the champagnes, sometimes they get, we're adding another gene, doesn't change much. But pattern adding genes are going to be very, very, very good in there. So champagne, definitely with your inchy. Blitz is good. Inchy blitz would be really good. Anything like that. Kurt, what do you think you'd want to add to champagne? No, you hate it.
Not really.
Shaking his head, not really. There's nothing there for him. I get that wholeheartedly. We talked about those 3. Oh, so we got these 2 here. They're both kind of in show, so we'll be pulling them out. The first one is our Hellfire line. Now, again, that's probably I'm 95% or higher or confident it's a new line of Pastel. So we're going to end up calling that Olympus line of Pastel, or whatever the fuck you want to call it if you buy it, because I don't really give a shit. It ain't going to be mine anymore. But it came out of a non-pastel, proven over 100 times. I think they're a little bit nicer than a normal one, but that's what it is genetically. So, you know, it won't stay that way if you water it down with shitty examples, because old pastels used to be nicer than they are today. It's got watered down with shitty examples. With that, what will we put to that? There is nothing that you can't put to something with pastel, with one exception in my world. Keep your fucking banana out of pastel. It does not make it look better. Banana pastels look worse than bananas. So just don't do it. Don't do it. Stop it. Stop it. Now, again, that's just my opinion. Somebody's probably saying they look great. I love them. Do what you want to do. But with that, I think extra Hellfire line would be nice. And then also Blitz goes really, really good in that. Blitz goes kind of well in everything. You know, that would be a good one to put to the champagne as well. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. Don't sleep on pastel for making pretty animals. Is pastel going to add a crap ton of value to your project? No, it's not a gene that's going to add $1,000 or anything like that. But don't sleep on it because it makes things look better, in my personal opinion. And that brings us to the last one, which I wish I could pull out, but I can't. It is what's called a het true ghost, meaning it is carrying a gene for Axanthic. It's also carrying a gene, SK line, for ghost or hypo. So when you breed that, we have made true ghosts with it before. We've made hypos. We've also made Axanthics. 100% definitely both in there. We produced that animal, so all from me. The other thing that's fascinating about it is that thing has turned very, very dark. Very, very dark. And if you guys are familiar with some of the Axanthic stuff in there, there's a line of Axanthic, it's like subline almost. You have your SK line, and some of the things SK line are turning dark. Not all, some are. We've showed some of our dark ones. We have a handful that are like that within our collection too. This is not a visual, it's a het, but it's gone just as dark. I don't know if it's that dark because of the Axanthic. That's my personal belief. We have tried many things to recreate it, and we have never been able to recreate that darkness in a normal looking snake before. So I do not believe it's anything genetic. Fortunately, it'd be badass if it was. But I think you can throw dark Axanthics with it. So I would definitely be throwing Axanthic stuff to that all day long, hoping to get some more of the darker stuff. We have some pastel Axanthic females, unfortunately, that are dark, but there's some other males I could throw there to get that. So that's kind of where I would go. If you have one that happens to carry ghost and Axanthic, obviously that's a banger. We were doing double het to double het from ones we made, so our success rate on that isn't very high. I mean, because your odds are like 1 in 16, so you're not going to get a lot of those, but it did happen. Pretty cool. So I really like that snake. I also personally like anything with ghost. I think hypomelanistic gets slept on. When I say things get slept on, guys, you got to remember what my brain works on. My brain works on let's make pretty shit, not how can I make something that's got this many genes in it just to claim a few extra dollars now before it goes down in value. I don't really give a shit about that. I just like to make cool shit. So it makes cool shit. Ghost makes everything look nice. It's probably one of the most versatile genes I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is you're hard pressed to find something that Ghost doesn't make better. It just kind of are. The only time it doesn't is some of the darker things because you're kind of deleting some of that darkness. But everything else, it just makes it cleaner, prettier, brighter, just nicer. Love me some Ghost. Of course, y'all know how I feel about Axanthic. I'd make 1,000 killer zebra bees if I could every year. It's my favorite thing in the world. Actually, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it is my favorite ball python in the world. Killer zebra bee still the shit today. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Kurt, anything you want to add?
No.
We got Caden here too. Caden, you want to add anything you'd breed differently?
I got nothing.
Oh, you will have, because we're going to have a little bit of a Caden's Minute on Patreon.
Oh,
oh yeah, I told you it's going to happen, brother. All right, guys, we are going to hop over here, switch over to that, and you're going to hear Caden's opinion as brand new on what he might breed to certain things if we talk about it for a few minutes. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.